Welcome back to Invitation to the Cookout. It's your boy Dapper Dom. Got my co-host, the Alex Mack. We got special guest in the studio with us today, but before we get into it, you already know, let's handle some business first. Like, share, subscribe. Each one, reach one. What you tell them?
Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Tell a friend to tell a friend. Whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us here today. We have an Olympic medalist. We have an international motivational speaker.
Come on.
Her group DVB houses multiple companies, has Diamond Training, the #1 training company in Northwest Arkansas, as well as real estate investments, as well as my personal favorite, Island Bites, clean food and clean drinks. Might I add, delicious, with a capital D. Matter of fact, entire word, all caps. All caps. She has a passion for helping people understand they can do or be whatever they desire to be. Olympic medalist Dominique Blake and her mom.
Clap it up. Welcome to the Cookout.
Yeah.
Glad to have you at the Cookout today. You guys will remember from our prior episode, we got a little taste of Dom. We said it was so good, you had to come back twice.
We needed the energy.
We had to bring it back twice. So welcome. Thank you for joining us again today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you're a first-time viewer listening to our podcast, as you know, our first segment is called Chop It Up. Currently sponsored by Life, living in faith every day, babe. But we will take a paid sponsorship. Just let us know. But in this segment, if it's just Alex and I, we're catching up. Like most people think we talk or see each other all the time. We really don't. So we're either catching up or talking about current events. But when we have guests as well, last month was Women's History Month. I know we're in April now, but we're not going to stop celebrating our women.
Absolutely.
And so what we had our guests do is talk about some women who motivated them or inspired them. We're going to treat this like Black History.
Yeah.
Yes. Mom's birthday is in 2 days, so we're celebrating women. We're celebrating her. Yeah. We'll be around NWA celebrating her. So because we could kick it off here first.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I love it.
Go ahead and tell us some women. I know this probably is one who inspired you and motivated you, but go ahead and talk about others if.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? I'll stop right here.
Okay.
So, this is the foundation. This is the woman that birthed me. Mm-hmm. So everything that you guys get to have, the luxury, the pleasure of having Diamond Training, Island Bites, the media personality, all the things in real estate, it really just started with her.
Okay.
And obviously, whoever God wanted me to be, I was going to be. But I think the influence from home, from my parents, especially my mom, really created that major change and difference. There's this thing that I see on social media that they're like, if you have kids, you need to gas them up. Yeah. And you do. Because from 0 to age 7, that brain state is just so raw and the imagination is so wild and vivid. And I believe that anything was possible. And, my parents encouraged me to understand that you could be anything you want to be. You want to be a tooth fairy, baby, you can be that. Right? So it wasn't a stretch of the imagination to be an Olympic medalist. That's easy, but you got to be the hardest working person there. You got to show up first and you got to leave last, right? To put that hard work in. So, I will give that to Val so we can
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Creator.
Yeah.
So.
Val, did you know that your daughter was special? Like, we all know, like, our children are special.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah, we got that bias.
You can have a parent bias, but, like, when did you know that, like, I'm not just being a biased parent? Like, my daughter truly is special and she's going to do great things.
Well, to begin with, I have 2 kids.
Oh, yeah.
I have a son that's 8 years older.
Okay.
And I had my son when I was, very young. So
Wasn't that young, Mama? You were 21.
Yeah, okay. The first one, you usually give them what you have, right? But as you grow and you mature and you get to understand about your consciousness and how the life work, when I had Dom, I realized I was more conscious of what I was doing. I wanted a kid, so I got my first one. And then I get Dom. So I know that you have to start talking to the kids from even before you even think about having them. You know what you want, right? So when I was pregnant, I used to talk to her every day, tell her what I want, an easy birth. She's a superstar. She's
You
everything
guys are getting
that's good.
exclusives.
Yeah. So when it was time to give birth, I really had an easy birth.
Okay, yeah.
And everything went well. Growing up, I tell her exactly what I want. You know, I want a child that's easy to grow. Somebody that is just perfect, whole, and complete.
Yeah.
And a superstar. So she started doing all those things. She's manifesting it. And not only that, I was in truth at the time when I gave birth to her. I started studying about life.
Yeah.
And you can get and be whatever you want, even though my mom inspired that in me at an early age too. And I've seen her manifested a lot of things that I want.
So you had those
So my kids grew up with that consciousness. Yes.
Yeah, I actually try to do that with so I have 3 boys. So I have a 5-year-old, 5-year-old, and a 6-month-old. But like every day, I drive my 5-year-old to school. You know, I try to tell him, hey, you're smart, you're brave, you're courageous, you're a leader, you have great patience. And so at first, when I first started telling him this, he'd be like, why do you tell me this every day? Like, why is this? And so I'm telling him, like, these are daily affirmations, so I want you to know how special you are. But, like, if I don't say it to him, like 2 days ago, we pulled up to school after spring break, he was like, Daddy, wait, you didn't tell me what you're supposed to tell me. And I was like, oh, he likes these things. You know what I mean? So he
It's
wants
a part
to
of
hear
his routine now.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
It is.
I love it. No.
You know what? That's funny because I would ask her for things and she'd be like, "Don't tell me. Go write it down." You know those little black and white composition notebooks.
So I still hand those out. So I train kids in basketball.
All right.
So I mentor them. I give all of them a composition notebook.
Yeah.
You write down your goals and how do we get there. Not
Right.
just a broad, hey, I want to start or I want to do this, but like, how did you get there? Like, what are the steps to get there? So I give my kids composition notebooks.
Nice.
Black and white.
Yeah.
Power and pen.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So when did you know that like you were fast?
You know what? I grew up in Kingston, Jamaica. And so, you know, I played every sport, swimming, soccer, you know, there was no limitation on sports. And so I think your talents and your body will naturally start to gravitate to a particular sport. And running just happened to be it. And we have a thing in the Caribbean called Sports Day, right? And so every year, every sports day, I just keep figuring out, like, I'm faster than everybody. I'm trying and I'm working hard, but every year I would just become a little bit more aware of it to myself. And then when you start, as a girl, when you start beating the boys, that's a thing. Then we're looking at something here.
Yeah.
And the parents participate in sports day, and they used to look at my mom like, "What are y'all giving her?" Right? So they used to, right, Mom? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are y'all feeding over there? Is it legal? So, and then this is in Jamaica. This is Jamaica where everybody is kind of talented. So that says a lot. And so just really paying attention to my skill set and where my talents would allow me to be better than everybody else. I'm like, all right, well, I had enough sense to say, I think I should nurture this. Yeah. So I told my parents, and, there's just that expectation. So if you're going to do this thing, then you got to do it the right way. Make sure you're prepared, showing up to practice on time. You have all your tools, meaning the proper spikes or sneakers, whatever it is that you need, snacks. And so, that's basically it. And track is one of those sports. All you need you don't need no extra nothing. So I showed up, just made sure that I did all the things at home that were necessary to be prepared, which is taking care of your body. And that the rest was,
Well, as you talk about people saying, what are you feeding her? Let's segue to island bites.
That's perfect. Some of the island bites he was getting that detox juice.
Talk about island bites. Talking detox juice as well.
Okay, I'll kick it off and I'll hand it over to her. Yeah. But honestly, this started in such an organic and natural way, where just growing up, it is our tradition to use whole foods and natural. We don't know anything about 50 ingredients in a thing. Yeah. If you can remember, pre-2005, McDonald's French fries started out with 3 ingredients. Now we're up to 50. Oh. So just understanding that the science of food and what it's really our medicine, right? Island Bites really started with mom just literally cooking at home and everybody being jealous that she's cooking all this good food. And I'm getting to wake up to natural juices, and she got it from her mom. And we just don't get sick like the average person. So then you start looking into that, and then, you know, it tastes good. It's clean, it tastes good. So why not have everybody sample and get to enjoy?
I know I do.
Yeah,
I know I
yeah.
do. I'm gonna tell you that
So,
much.
and that's real. He's not just saying that. The camera's on.
No, yeah.
I got me 2 plates at the expo.
Yeah. So, but honestly, taking a step further, my parents, just watching them growing up, they brought or took the things that they had fun with in life and just made them into businesses. So you're never really going to work.
Okay.
There's never
I like
really,
that.
you can retire, which simply means doing whatever you want to do, having the freedom with the resources that you've, you know, made from all your work in your younger years. But there's really no truly retirement when you're loving and you're passionate about everything that you're doing. You know, I can't imagine from now till 100 not inspiring people with my words or telling them to move their body in a particular way. So retirement for me looks a little different than the average person. But, you know, Island Bites is all from her heart and her hands to the world.
Please, tell us, give us a little bit more.
Okay. My mom is she's a holistic person. So I grew up in that family. My mom is like a herbalist. My mom never gets sick. She's always detox on her herb. So that's how we grew up. Okay, so I went to school in New York. I went undergrad, high school. And in undergrad I did nutrition and dietetics. For grad school, Hunter College, I did institutional management and nutrition. Right? And I did Grand Canyon University.
Yes.
I did MBA.
All right.
All right. So I'm always a business person. My first job after undergrad was with New York City Board of Ed. So I was the manager for the school lunch program.
Oh.
Then I left and I went into my own business.
Yes.
Okay. So in Jamaica, I'm a realtor too. Real estate developer.
Wait,
Y'all just
disclaimer,
worldwide.
disclaimer, y'all.
That's what I'm getting from
we
this.
we are Jamaican, so we have 25.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
I know you're talking to a serial entrepreneur. I know you're talking
Well,
about
now we know where she
Right.
got it from.
Again, exclusive.
Okay, so went back to I don't know. When Dom, I moved back to Jamaica when Dom was a baby.
Okay.
All right.
And so we opened a restaurant, right? So it was all natural, the same thing like Island Bites.
Okay.
And then we had, it's all food. So we had bread and breakfast,
Okay.
food.
Yeah.
And then I decided to just focus on real estate. But then I got back into the food business because we have to make it a way of life. I make natural juice. So my kids are all workout. My son work out every day. My grandkids.
Yeah.
Dom is like the leader, so she's that's her part. An Olympian. She's just awesome.
Yeah.
So is my son. He works out too, and he's into natural food.
Okay.
Can you
Right.
can you give the people a couple items that's on your menu at Island Bites, and also too, where can they find you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, Dom will tell you where you can find us.
So the
But I
fan
can-
favorite is
Them oxtails.
Yeah.
So I give them what they want.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so it's oxtail, chicken. They love chicken. Jerk chicken, curry chicken,
brown stew chicken. And we have something for the vegan people.
Yes,
Right. So
and
we have a vegan stew.
vegan stew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Always.
Excuse me?
So we figured it would be a little bit smarter to start out with the more popular items, and as the brand grows and as people just grow their liking for the food, we can expand a little bit more. But oftentimes I see companies or food companies fall into this trap where they start with 50 things on the menu, and if you're not in a bigger city, that can be very dangerous because the population isn't familiar already with all the things that are exotic. You know what I mean?
For sure. sure. Alex and I know that. So we work together in supplier diversity and inclusion for Walmart.
Yep.
And so when we would go to events and we would meet these diverse suppliers who wanted to work with Walmart, you know, we would tell them that similar thing, like, hey, a merchant might fall in love with your item and want to put you in 2,000 stores. But if you're not ready for 2,000 stores from a logistics standpoint, supply chain, just being able to just manage that inventory, that P&L, I like to say a blessing too fast, not a blessing at all. Right. And so, hey, tell them I'm only comfortable with 500. Let me rock out these 500, and then maybe next year I go to 8. Then 1,000. You know what I'm saying? So understanding, like,
Coca-Cola started with just Coca-Cola, and then they went Coke Zero, then all the other products.
And it really comes down to, you know, focus. And, you know, I always say when I, you know, talk to brands through work, it's about doing one thing with excellence before you go to the next, right? So if we use a track analogy, like there's so many different parts. It's not just getting out there and run. Right. You got to get your start right. You got to get in the blocks. So you got to do all those things with excellence before you say, okay, I'm going to go and add this to it. And so I think that's
how about awesome. That's a great point, because I'll take it a step further, because here's what athletes don't get to talk about, right? We don't get to be identified as anything outside of being an athlete. And so that pivot, the pivot is necessary, because the shelf life of an athlete isn't very long. I can be an accountant for a far longer time than I can be a track athlete. So understanding the foundation, what makes me great, what makes you great, and then understanding that in a couple years, what does that look like, kind of pivoting into other things that you're passionate about. And so I've always been very heavy on encouraging people to not get caught up in exactly where you are right now, but evolving and leaning into evolving. That's very important. So Dom, we know you run track, but okay, how about this? Well, I have a lot of Airbnbs. I do a lot of commercial real estate. We got Island Bites, and so I'm multidimensional, and I encourage everybody to say, when you wake up in the morning, you should say, what else? What other skill sets can I add to myself? Because even if people hate you, if you have a great product or a wonderful service, you can't be denied.
You can't.
So is that mindset you have? Because I want to know, was that something that you came in later as you matured as an athlete? Was that something that's always intrinsic inside of you? Because I feel like American culture is like athlete or bust. It's to the league or bust, and it's a lot of people, they don't have that identity when it's done, or when their dreams are shattered outside of it.
And how about this? I'll say that I want everybody to hurry up and fail. I want you to hurry up and get your feelings. I want you to hurry up and get your feelings hurt. I want you to hurry up and not have any money to see what that feels like. I want you to hurry up and get your heart broken. How about that?
Okay.
You'll learn emotional intelligence. I want you to not wishing anybody to get cheated on or anything like that. But when you go through those things at a very early age, you can live the rest of your life having empathy, having emotional intelligence, and having the understanding of how to treat human beings and what that psychology looks like in how to go into the world and get what you want from people, right? So if you don't know what both sides look like, it's very challenging to ask somebody for $1 if you don't know how the dollar is earned or what should go into that. So I tell my team, I will mop and sweep 5,000 square feet of space with a Q-tip before I have anybody come in here and not like live up to the work ethic that I've designed all my businesses to be. You know, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely.
Absolutely. So let's circle back to, you know, you talked about, you had these like kind of like, I guess, like sports days on the island, and you knew you were just beating boys, beating girls. When did you know this could really be something? And like, were you winning like in high school? Like, tell us about that. Like,
well,
how did you get noticed?
Honestly, shout out to my high school coach, Miss Maritza Osorio. Today's her birthday. Happy birthday, coach.
Happy birthday, coach.
Yeah. She's the spiciest Puerto Rican woman you ever meet in your life. And I call her my second mom because she really stepped into that role for all the girls in our team. And traditionally, if you knew that your kid was going to Harry S. Truman High School, I went to Harry S. Truman in the Bronx, New York. And Lady Mustang.
Stand up.
And so she really protected us in a way that other coaches, we didn't see it happening. If we got disqualified, she'd be protesting and in the officials' faces and, you know, fighting security guards because she was that gangster. And she wasn't going to take no for an answer. And she got all of our girls full scholarships to go to some school, even if it wasn't D1.
Yeah, it doesn't
You were
matter.
getting a full scholarship to go
it doesn't
somewhere.
matter. Yeah.
Awesome.
And so to see a high school coach take that much pride in sports and in the athletes to make sure that you're good at home. If there's something going on at home, she'd pull up to the house and ask the parents what's going on.
Okay.
You know?
I like you, coach.
That's honestly something that you just don't see. And I was lucky enough to get that in college again with shout out to Coach Chris Johnson. He's the head coach, making history here at the University of Arkansas. The first black coach, head coach in the track and field program, and the youngest.
Shout out, coach.
Wow,
Yeah.
Coach, shout out, man.
Yeah,
Come on now.
his brother Boogie Johnson, Lawrence Johnson, he's hurdle mechanic. So they're honestly the most successful coaches in track and field right now, hands down. I can say in my opinion, but we have them here in Northwest Arkansas. So he recruited me at Penn State University, and so he was a grad assistant here. That was his first job as an assistant coach at Penn State. Recruited me, honestly, and the other half of who I am in terms of my mindset and compulsiveness, because if you go into his office and shift a pencil out of the way, he gonna come in there and tell you shifted my pencil.
Oh,
yes,
God.
yes. So me color coding my closet, being able to walk into some place and immediately do algebra in my mind and say, okay, that doesn't belong. That needs to. That's really his, doing, and my dad, as well. But honestly, I realized in high school that this is something that I'm going to take all the way. And I had, how they say, when your idols become your rivals.
Yeah.
Do you remember Marion Jones?
I do.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Gosh.
I gotta say that now. We're getting to that age where sometimes when
maybe
you
you
talk
don't know.
to people,
That's
depending on the
very
age,
true.
they're
That's
like,
true.
"Who's DMX?"
Yeah.
I'm like,
"Oh, that's a lack of us teachers. So I like that
you know what I mean?
doing
No,
that.
Right.
I'm with you because I was watching. To cut you, I was watching what's the show? Abbott Elementary.
Yeah.
And they was doing a episode and he was playing a Millie and the class was like, "Oh, this is a classic."
Yeah.
He was like,
yes.
that become a classic.
Right.
Like
Man,
you said,
don't
stuff
make me
that we
feel
grew
that
up
old.
on
It's
is
a
like,
thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, but continue.
Yeah, it's a thing. And so high school, again, just like grade school, realizing now I'm in New York, running against all the kids in the city, all the kids in the other boroughs, and now the nation, and realizing I'm still this good,
Okay.
I just keep showing up, keep working hard, and I keep getting lucky.
Yeah.
So the opportunities, I got recruited by almost basically every Division I college in the nation, and so I started getting college letters at the end of my freshman year.
Yeah.
So I knew I was going somewhere.
Yeah.
And then sophomore year, going into junior year, and I'll tell all the parents this, come close.
Yeah. Come on.
bring it
We
in.
got you.
Right.
We got you.
So sophomore year is very important. Freshman year, you can kind of lay the foundation, let your kids know, hey, these are the developmental years. Do not mess up your GPA in college or in high school your freshman year. As athletes, we get to kind of balance it out with our GPA and our SAT. And what's that other test? There's SAT and there's the other test.
ACT.
Yeah.
Scores, so you have to be able to clear the NCAA clearinghouse, and they give athletes the opportunity to balance it out with the GPA, so you don't have to score a perfect score on the SATs. And so my GPA was through the roof. Not the best test taker, but I had a good enough score to offset it, and it was perfect. So ultimately, I chose Penn State because they invested. They really this is the Reggie Bush year. Right?
Okay.
Where they were just like doing all the things when you came on your recruit trip. They rolled out the red carpet. And I was like, man. And then funny, very interesting, I paid attention to how they took care of their grass. Does that make sense to you? The grass was so immaculate that I said to myself, if they're taking this good a care of the grass, imagine what they're going to do for me.
Come on.
And nobody believes me when I say the grass is what beat y'all. The grass is at Penn State was what beat South Carolina.
Hey,
Texas.
I know they was killing themselves. Like, you gotta be kidding me.
And but also, they let me know, hey, if you get injured, we're still gonna take care of you. You still have the option to have a 5th year. You graduate, great, you don't get injured. We're gonna pay for a year of your grad school.
Awesome.
What?
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
amazing.
Yes,
it is.
So if I had went to maybe some other universities, once you get injured, hey, we got to put you on the bench, and we don't know what's going to happen after that 4th year.
Yeah.
So that was very important to me, understanding the academics, because you're a student athlete, students first. So, just understanding the GPA thing. Then I get to college, and under the guidance of Coach Chris Johnson, I was able to just really excel. And then my senior year, I was like, oh, I'm going pro.
Yeah.
So I had the opportunity to be an Adidas athlete.
Yeah. Gotcha. Now, what was that transition like? Because I know you had to be disciplined, like already in college, to just be that good and put yourself in a position to be a professional track athlete. But like always, when we grow, we always have to develop another level of ourselves. Like we have to who you were in college can't be the same person you are as a professional. Yeah. And so, like, what was that transition like? And like,
to be honest, it wasn't. Listen, just like anything else, there is a shift, and you learn very quickly. Yeah. Nobody's coming to wake you up. Nobody's coming to drag you to class. Nobody's calling you on the phone and say, get your butt to the training room to get that injury, taken care of. Waking up 5 o'clock in the morning. No. You are the business now, and you're paying everybody. This is now 100% a business, right? So you're paying your coach, you're paying your agent, you're paying your training staff, and so nobody wants their money to you're watching that bank account. So it keeps you accountable, or it should. And so honestly, the shift was great mentorship. Okay. I'd already been programmed to go to my coach's office at least maybe once a week to sit and talk to him, because when you're on the track or when you're on the court, you can't have that one-on-one connection because everybody's in the moment.
And I'm glad you said that. And that's what I tell my kids too. I was like, during the game is not the time to go ask coach about your idea. Right. Like you go to him like during the week or something like that. I was like, also too, I encourage them to say, hey, if your goal is to play and to get better, you should be in coach's office at least once or twice every 2 to 3 weeks, asking them, hey coach, how can I get better? How can I help the team? Right. Like I said, because even now, like I have one-on-ones with bosses and for like as far as professional development. So you're always going to.
I didn't know you care about this.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm showing up every day with my stopwatch, blowing my whistle, yelling at y'all. Yes. If you don't come to me, how will I know that you're really care? You care, or you're invested in where we're actually going. Yeah. So I think once people understand, separate sports. I always am under the mindset or the understanding that you should do more than you're paid for. How will you get that promotion if you're not already demonstrating that you're you're invested here level. And I care about the long haul. So I'm a long-term person. I will sit and wait and wait and wait. You'll get tired before I stop waiting. Right? So I don't know if that's an Aquarius thing or that's just a type A type of situation, but the mindset is also, I've trained my whole entire life to be able to run 50 seconds. Do you know what that is? Delayed gratification is second nature for me. My gosh. So while people get impatient or something's not working out in the moment, I can sit and wait because I understand the seasons of life. Some days you're going to feel fat. Some days you're going to feel lean. That's just it. So, take it as you will, but we don't get to, my grandfather used to tell her something that I grew up hearing her say is, he used to tell her, Val, you can't seek a friend when you need a friend. What do you think that means? I'll ask you.
I actually want to hear what you're saying, because I know
you can't seek a friend when you need a friend.
Seek a friend when you need.
I don't know. To me, I feel like at that point in time, it's too late. It's like, and we've talked about this with some stuff that's kind of like, hey, I need this right now, and it's like you had this intense pressure because it's like I need it, and you're not going through the right phases of trying to create.
But y'all didn't call me yesterday.
Relationship.
Right? No. We made that relationship a beautiful relationship at the expo. Then we saw the feedback from the people. Right? Like, so this is evidence in this episode that we're creating right now to let you know there's something special here, and there was some demand for it.
Yes.
So y'all didn't just fall out of the sky and say, hey girl, you want to come over here tomorrow?
I got a plan for it. Come on, you're a busy woman. You go.
But I think the other thing that the piece that's behind that too is, and from what I'm hearing you saying, it's about being intentional.
It is.
Right? So everything is about intention.
Forget intentional. At this point, I'm obsessed. Okay. So I don't do things that I don't want to do. Yeah. At this point, I've had the luxury to, my little young, and I will say it, all of my 38 years of living, I am absolutely and I'm a woman that will always tell you my age. I want all my credit, right? And the older I get, I feel more fortunate and lucky to be able to be at this age because I'm not doing anything that I don't want to do. And you either gonna pay on the front end or the back end. But you pick. You pick with your health, with your finances. You're either gonna put the work in up front and chill and relax later, or you're gonna do all the stupid stuff and pay for it on the back end. So I really just choose to be intentional with my words. Whoever I'm talking to, I don't know if you guys follow me on social media. Hopefully you do by now.
Yes.
But my statuses are really real, and people are like, I can't believe she's saying this. No, I'm really real. I'm from New York and I'm from Jamaica.
They don't filter nothing.
What you see is what you're going to get. As respectful and dignified and conservative as I am, I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm not doing this. Or not at this time. I'm interested, but I'm not going to do it right now. Maybe we can talk in the future. And that's just what it is.
Which I called that energy. That's why I'm so appreciative that she said yes.
I'm not going to waste your time.
Like when she said yes, okay, well, she really want to do it. But she would have told me, no, I would like to, but I got other stuff on the plate.
That's disrespectful to me. Like also when people, wait 5 days to text you back, what is that about? I've had the luxury of texting with millionaires, billionaires, and they get right back to you because that is a form of respect. What is that about? The people that take 6 days, they don't got nothing going on. I promise you. Nothing. Try. Take the next week and see, and text with a couple people. Text with some people that really know ain't got nothing going on.
And see how
fast they respond. I do these little experiments in life all the time. I'm a real observer of human beings. And I do these things with myself and others, and I'm just like, never fails. One thing lends itself to the other.
It's funny that you said, I'm an Aquarius too, by the way.
Really? And your name is Dom.
Yeah. February 7th.
Your wife did good.
But she'll tell you that I'll just say things or put things out there just to see how people are going to react, and I want to see how they're going to respond to the situation. So it's funny that you said that, but also, how did it feel like when you first knew that you made the Olympic team with Jamaica having such a rich history?
You know what? Unpopular answer that you're probably not going to expect. Well, first of all, I was very grateful, right? Because all your blood, sweat, and tears, all your childhood aspirations, thousands of hours, I believe that I deserved it. I'd worked so hard for it.
That's fair.
But also, there's this weird thing inside of me personally. I don't get excited about anything until I'm in the moment. So I didn't really get excited until I got to the Olympic Village. And then I got to, go get lunch, and I look over and I see LeBron and I see Michael Phelps and I see Venus and Serena talking to their coach on the. I said, all right, I'm here.
This is real. This is real now.
I'm here.
Hey.
And, having the same reverence for each other. They got excited to come over to watch track, and we got excited to go over and watch basketball. But to see your peers celebrate you like that, it's really surreal. I'm getting goosebumps.
Tell the people, what did you run in case they don't know?
So as a part of the 4x4 relay. So my event is the 400. So as part of that 4x4 relay. And so I didn't ask to be a quarter miler. Running the 400 is something that God just blesses you with. You have to
that's what
that's a different
And again, the genes came from mom did gymnastics, mom did track. My dad played cricket and soccer. I'm a little taller than her, but I got my legs from her. She don't have them out today. Yes.
Awesome. So how was that also too, we talking about pivoting, you talked about pivoting and you talked about how some athletes, it's either NFL and bust or, pro and bust.
Yeah.
How after your illustrious career, were you able to just pivot and did you already know some of the things you wanted to do, or did they kind of come organically?
Yeah. You know what? I've had, again, being able to watch my parents do a multitude of things. I just knew that I wasn't always going to be in one box. Watching them own real estate, watching them have travel agencies, restaurants, and I'm just like, man, you don't have to do one thing. You know what I mean? So I always knew once track was over, and then we always had the wealth talk. what gives you wealth rather than just being rich. You know, I love luxury. I like nice things. And
Nothing wrong with that.
the God I serve wants me to have everything. So, and you know, I serve a very wealthy God. And so I don't believe that anything, you know, is off limits. I believe that we're like some magnificent beings, and anything that you obsessively think about, it's already there. Right. So, you know, that's just one of those things. Track is just an extension of life for me, because the fundamental principles honestly lends itself to everywhere. So I'll be the first person to hire an athlete, to hire a military person, to hire somebody that grew up on a farm. That type of work ethic, the farm work ethic, they're a different breed of people. So, yeah, there's a science behind that.
So which was your first like business venture? And let's talk about some of your
media.
Yeah, okay, media. So
And segueing from being an athlete, because you know your agent says, hey, you got to be in China tomorrow. Packing my bags. You got to be in Germany tomorrow. We need you to speak to a group of kids. So, being able to be a representative, a brand ambassador for an ambassador for your country, an ambassador for self, for your shoe company. It's easy to kind of. It should be, at least. I mean, my natural gift to be able to connect with people helps me in communicating. So, you know, and I was like, man, this degree, I don't know if I'm using my degree, but, you know, I'm a communication major, media and marketing. So, being in front of the camera, and you guys are really inspiring me to reignite my podcast. And it's called The Finish Line. It's on Spotify.
Okay.
I got a couple episodes
Shout out to The Finish Line.
And I was still competing when I started. So I kind of like pushed it to the side. But yeah, you know, again, you guys heard it here
Go
first.
ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about diamond training.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell us
Now we
about that business.
pivoted into DT Fitness Club.
Yeah.
So we're the #1 personal training company. I've stopped saying in NWA.
Okay, no,
right? No, that's fine. That's fine.
We pop collars at the cookout, so
we're known as that, but we've transcended and pivoted into such a large space where it's literally a wellness 360. How you can imagine plus more, you know? So as we're speaking, we are demolitioning our Fayetteville location to add cold plunges and saunas. We partnered with one of the most popular hotels. Can't say it yet. Next episode, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Right? And so the next time if we have the privilege to sit down, we'll have a lot of magnificent things to talk about.
Awesome.
And so, you know, sauna, cold plunges, deep tissue massage therapy, yoga, medical weight loss programs, IV treatment. You know, honestly, and it's all private. So it's exclusive to you as an individual. So we have a lot of veterans that, you know, maybe are paraplegic. You know, we have children with Down syndrome. Like literally, whoever you are, whatever age you are, we're able to transform your wellness journey and just make you the best version of you. And the trust is there, again, from whatever I've done as an athlete. So when you become a leader in your industry, the trust and the credibility, and that's why your word, your credibility is all you have. That bounce back is just a little bit easier when people know that they can trust you.
How does that work in because a lot of what you're talking about is, you know, the things that you kind of acquired growing up and running. How to, you know, and that right there was a key entrepreneurial tip.
Sure.
Like, what are some other things that you think about in terms of people that are, you know, maybe we've talked about this before, that fear of failure, that, hey, I want to start this, but I don't know about that. Like, what are some other things that you've learned in your journey that you would say, hey, these are some things that you need to kind of be in tune with if you try to take that journey?
Mastering communication. It's like a dying art. And the Gen Z, if you're a Gen Z
social media
person, listen, social media has kind of killed the way we've approached communication, right?
For sure.
Guys aren't walking up to girls anymore in the club and saying, what's your name? You do right. That will give them anxiety. Can't even do that, right? So So the way we're meeting each other, the way we are working, a lot of people are working from home.
Yeah.
We don't have that human interaction
yes.
anymore. So that's doing a lot to the human race, whether we want to believe it or not.
I'm 100% on board with you.
So honestly, being told no, right, has really helped me because it's made me sit down and say, what else?
Yeah.
Okay.
What else? What else can I provide to not get told no again?
Yeah.
And then when I go back, here's what I'm gonna do different, right? So whatever the industry is, whatever, I've just made sure that I've separated myself so far from anybody else that's there that it doesn't even matter. Whether you like me as an individual, it doesn't matter, right? I've acquired the best human capital, duplicated myself so well that maybe I'm okay. My ego is okay if you don't want to see me when you come into my company.
Yeah.
Guess what? You have an option to see these other 5 people that do just as well of a job, or maybe even better than myself. I don't have ego.
Right. You talked about earlier about like when you became a professional, like nobody was coming to wake you up. Nobody was making you train and work out. How do you, what advice do you give just to somebody who was an athlete in high school or college and now they're working a 9 to 5 and they have a family? Like how can they implement that discipline of health?
Of health, put yourself around other people that are doing it.
Okay.
Right? Accountability is everything. And so when it's a mirror. So when you're constantly having to look and see, oh man, I was good last week, but this week I'm not doing those same things. So I tell people I sell accountability.
Okay.
I sell accountability in the media space. I sell accountability in the wellness space. So whatever it is that you're not doing, I'm already coming to the table with a 1-pager to say, here are all the things that I can offer you. Here's how I can make your life easier. Because when you honestly, why do we watch Netflix or go on Amazon? It's easy.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. For sure.
You drop it in the cart and it show up at your house. How much easier can it get? So I don't believe in reinventing the wheel.
Okay.
No, yeah, we look at what other successful individuals are doing, and then you put the domness on it. You put your spin on it. Podcasts aren't new.
No, you got to put your spin on it.
Right, but why will you guys be the greatest podcast?
Oh, well, we got this duo right
I'm
here.
just saying.
We're going to bring, I like to say we're going to bring a feeling of community to the camera.
Right.
Like talking about the culture, just talking about things that we are talking about at the cookout and things that we should be talking about at the cookout right here on our podcast. So that's why we're going to be different.
You see, he had that ready. He was waiting for somebody else.
We used to do it. I love that piece because I think we really cut our chops in supplier diversity.
How long have y'all known each other?
What? This has only been 4 years. 4 years. Yeah, this is only it's only 4 years, but we learned our chops because we would meet with at these conferences. We would meet with hundreds of suppliers, and we would tell them what makes you different, what makes you think that you can take shelf space from somebody that's already there. So I think that was always our thing, and even when we talked about this, like, why are we different enough so that people should want to hear what we have going on?
So you see what you just said there?
Piece.
I encourage everybody to go home and write out a couple sentences. Hi, my name is, I'm partnered with, or my company is, and here's what I do. Right?
Yeah.
That is Shark Tank in just 2 seconds.
Free game, baby. Free game.
Yeah.
So and when I first moved here, I had a mentorship meetup spot. The thing lived on Facebook, and then people that lived in NWA, every Tuesday night we met up at Puritan Coffee Shop, and I would host the members, and I would basically, so a lot of the people that you see here in society have come from the DVB mentorship group.
Shout out.
2017.
Oh, okay.
So we're talking about Q the Guru.
Yeah.
We're talking about Prism, cosmetology. Yeah. So black, white, Asian.
I love it.
A lot of these wonderful, successful entrepreneurs are Dom's babies.
No.
So as you're learning, you need to make sure that you're duplicating and teaching, and as well, because they'll keep you sharp as a mentor and whatever you're doing in your industry. Because if you can teach somebody,
I think that has been that's the part that has really made me happy, and I think it's a thread in and the type of women that we've come across. If you think about all our guests, they've all talked about mentorship.
Yes.
All of them have talked about the importance of not just what they receive, but what they've given to others in their journey.
And lose the ego. It's not that serious because if you guys are older than me, have been in my industry or doing things at a higher rate, I need to shut up and just listen to what it is that you have to give me. It might hurt my feelings. I might need 5 minutes to just get myself together. And that's human nature. But sometimes, you know, it's better to be silent and absorb and just observe. So for me, the mentor thing is cool, but am I able to shadow you? Right? So shadowing for me is everything. If you can't show up to just observe and look, that's the true mentorship. Because proximity is everything for success. If you're the fifth person hanging out with 4 millionaires, you know, guess what's going to happen?
Rub off.
Some rub off.
And that goes, it's the same way with hanging out with people that suck.
Yeah.
So limit that exposure. I'm not hanging out with nobody
that
I don't want to rub off on me.
because they might rub off the wrong way.
That's
We can't have that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, let's talk about your real estate group as well. Like,
Sure.
where's that like?
Sure. So I love the idea of providing housing for humans. Right. So the STR game, short-term real estate game, you know, I've had a lot of success in that. And so, you know, now we're pivoting a little bit more into the tiny home space.
Okay.
So, you know,
that's growing.
where we're going in society, people are realizing I don't need a mansion. And efficiency and just having that mindset in how we treat our finances and how we treat our lives, you're going to see a lot more of it. So just looking at, again, what's providing people in our space with the best success, and just honestly doing your best to duplicate that and have some success in it, you know? So
We like to say, what do you like to say? Tell our guests they go leave a what?
Hey, to go plate.
hey,
Yeah, to go plate.
Yeah.
baby.
So what are 2 or 3 nuggets that you want our listeners or viewers to leave with from you today?
well, one, success leaves clues, right? You don't have to go home and beat yourself up about, you know, not having the best idea. I think that you should, one, identify what you're passionate about and look at the other people that are doing that thing and just study and become obsessed. So success leaves clues. Be obsessed about whatever it is that you want to be successful in. And second, understanding that you can be, do, and have anything. That's my life mantra. So whether you have met me 10 years ago or you're just meeting me today for the first time, hello to all the new viewers. You can be, do, and have anything, and that comes from Mama Val here, instilling that in me. But you do have to provide that heavy work ethic. So it goes back to being obsessed. So
I think for me, I would just say she reinforced a lot of good things, and it's something that I tell my boys that I sum it up as you can't cheat your way to greatness.
no, you can get a
Right.
lick.
You're right. You know what I'm saying? So you can't, like, I tell my boys in practice, like when I don't do athletics no more.
Yeah.
So you're not cheating me when you don't do something right or you don't have the intensity you're supposed to have in the drill. So I think how she talks about obsession, she talks about being intentional. All of that is about having a very narrow vision of this is what I want, and nothing in the periphery is going to stop me from getting there.
Yeah.
And so that's I feel like that was just a common theme that she just kept reinforcing for us. So that's what I'm putting on my plate.
But you can't say that again. You can't what?
You can't cheat your way to greatness. Can't cheat
All
your way
the
to
things
greatness.
that you don't do in that moment when you gotta take that shot, that's when it shows up.
Yeah.
When I didn't do my abs and I got in the blocks right before the gun went off, that's when I remember.
She's like, dang,
I should have did the extra. Yeah,
they told me to do this.
too late.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
What you got, man?
I got
Put something on there.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to fail. Like that's what I took
say
away
it
from it. Yeah, like and she said, and go fast. Like
Fast.
don't
Hurry up and do
hesitate.
it.
You know what I mean? Like me and you kind of talked about a little bit about just being afraid to like take that next step. Don't be afraid to take that next step. Don't be afraid to fail. Learn. You know what I mean? Because you're learning as you go. So that's what I'm taking on my to-go plate. Also, I know last time we asked you what you playing, what's your song you got to play at the cookout. But what are you putting on your plate at the cookout?
Yeah. What you put on your plate?
Island Bites oxtail.
And tell them where they can find Island Bites. Like,
Yes, on Instagram, Island Bites _DETOX juice. You can find me personally. I follow back on my personal page, Dominique Blake. I'm the girl with the yellow background. You can't miss me. And Diamond Training, we're NWA's the number one personal training company, right? And we are Diamond Training NWA, Diamond Training Fitness Club NWA.
Yeah. Thank you for sitting down with us. Thank you, Mama Val, for sitting down with us. Yes, ma'am, sharing some of your story as well. Hey, we out.